These are Santa's, by the way, because it's Christmas. So
This is a Futurama t-shirt.
So the prospect of VR gaming, it's a very exciting one, but are there any proper, decent VR games out there yet? Well, so far, the answer has to be no. VR games, as they are now, are pretty much tech demos, or proof of concepts, rather than actual fully featured games.
We might finally have the first AAA VR game, and it's a fully fledged Serious Sam game. It goes by the name of Serious Sam VR, the First Encounter, and is a VR remastered version of the original First Encounter game, which launched back in 2001. But why is this such a big deal for VR games, you ask? Well, that's because it features a single-player campaign, a co-op campaign, and a proper, fully featured multiplayer system.
Getting the pointing in there to make the point. Features this and that.
I can do that if you prefer.
It's also pretty good if the Steam reviews are to be believed. The game has full locomotion movement, which basically means players have the ability to freely move around the game world using a trackpad or analog stick. There's also teleportation movement for players who do get motion sickness. Full movement is especially important for a game like this, and it helps contribute to the fast-paced gameplay and, more importantly, makes it feel like an actual game rather than a tech demo.
Yeah, so a lot of you might not be remotely interested in Serious Sam, but this is the first time that there's been a proper, fully rounded VR package. It's a proper game, you know, it's a game as we are familiar with it, except you can use VR the whole time for it. And that thing about movement is a really important point, because you've got full, you know, you can move around the game world as you would be able to in any other game. That has really not been possible in most VR games. A lot of them are like on rails and stuff like that. And
this is what everybody's waiting for. It's like, okay, VR's here, but so far all we've had is these tech demos where it's very limited amount of gameplay in there. Like in future, we are expecting a lot more games like this. Well, hopefully, because otherwise VR is going to die a death, in my opinion. It needs more like standalone or games that will fully integrate as games as we know them, that will play properly.
I mean, this is extremely encouraging for me, because it shows that even though it is an old Serious Sam game from 2001, it's got very kind of simplistic visuals and everything, but it's a proof of concept. It shows that it can be done, you know, and that's what's exciting. And if you've got a VR headset, you want to play a game on it. You don't want to just kind of have all these kind of experiences for 15 minutes at a time and call it a day. You know, maybe you do want to sit there for a few hours and just kind of...
For serious games, like give us some serious VR games.
So it's cool that this has actually happened.
The launch of Serious Sam VR shows that it is possible for games to be played in VR and still make for enjoyable experiences. Reviews for the game have claimed that it scratches the itch that early VR adopters have been experiencing since buying their headsets, and that it holds a tremendous amount of promise for the VR market. But there is one big catch. The game is still not that accessible. First up, it requires a powerful PC with top-end hardware to even run the game at the optimal settings, with the ideal frame rate being between 90 to 120 frames per second for VR to be enjoyable.
That is pretty high. That is surprisingly high. I didn't realise it would be.
Is it a limiting factor for VR then?
Probably.
You think about PSVR can't run that fast.
No, absolutely not. But that's the thing with PSVR. So far, it hasn't tried anything where it's been, kind of first-person shooter, free roaming movement and all that kind of stuff. It's all been on rails. You're lying down on a luge, going down a hill or whatever. It's that kind of stuff. So also the game requires either the HTC Vive or the Oculus Rift, and then it needs motion controllers, which come as standard for the Vive, but will set you back another $200 with the Oculus. That's very, very pricey just to play a Serious Sam game.
To be honest, I hadn't heard. Serious Sam wasn't even in my radar.
It's got,
I'm sure it's quite good. It's 2001. That's a long time. You know what I mean? Remaster from a 2001 game.
It's kind of it's definitely got its fans, and it's quite regularly on sale on Steam and stuff like that. And it's a PC gamer's kind of game, quite old school type thing.
But of course, it is tradition in the tech industry. First generations of a new tech are always expensive, and the price will come down eventually, making the VR tech more affordable to the masses. With this Serious Sam game and upcoming VR-compatible games like Resident Evil 7, VR has a good chance of becoming a serious platform for gaming. And once Star Trek VR, Bridge Commander, comes out, I mean, I'm sure VR will blow up, won't it? Like all them Trekkies buying the... I'm definitely getting Bridge Commander. That's the one I'm excited for. If there's any games that you guys are excited for on VR, it's on your radar, Do let us know down in the comments. We'd like to have a conversation.
Yeah, it's interesting to think. What will it take? What will you need to see before you adopt VR? What game would you need to see running on it?
I just want to be Jean-Luc Picard. You know what I mean? I just want to order people around and tell them what to do.
For me, it was that demo of Command & Conquer. So seeing the strategy game like being played in VR was phenomenal. I was really excited by that. So yeah, what would make you get into VR early? Let us know in the comments.
So that's it for today's VR update. What do you think about VR in general? Do you think it's going to take off, or do you think it's going to die a slow, excruciating death? Let us know down in the comments. As always, like the video if you enjoyed it. Check out some more of our content here. Subscribe at the top if you're new around here, and we'll see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.